everyone, today I'm going to be talking about Jean Piaget. So to start, I'll give some background information on Piaget. So he was born to an academic father, and having this foundation really helped Piaget become very academic himself. He really excelled in everything that he did. He was able to publish his first paper at age 10. And in his whole lifetime, he published over 62,000 pages of work. And this proved to be more published work than Wundt. Piaget began his work on intellectual development, which I'll be getting into in a second, in 1926. And through all of Piaget's contributions to the field of psychology, he has become to be considered one of the most influential psychologists of all time. So, moving on to Piaget's theory of cognitive development, Piaget believed that a child's cognitive structure, or their brain, developed physically and through experience. So, as a child interacts with the environment around them, their brain becomes more complex. And he broke up this theory into 4 stages, the first being the sensoromotor stage, next the preoperational stage, then to the concrete operational stage, and finally the formal operational stage. First, the sensoromotor stage takes place from birth to 2 years, and in this stage, the child acquires knowledge by direct experience and through the manipulation of objects around them. Sensory and motor skills become very prominent, hence the name sensoromotor stage. And the child gains object permanence, which means that they understand that objects continue to exist even if they cannot be seen. And the child begins to understand the effects of their own actions. Second, I'll be moving on to the preoperational stage of cognitive development, and quite a bit more takes place during this stage than in the sensoromotor stage. So this stage of development occurs from about 2 to 7 years, and the child is pre-logical thought. So they're not quite there when it comes to logically thinking yet, but they do develop the ability for symbolic thought. And so symbolic thought is the understanding that words, images, and symbols can be used to represent the world around them. And imagination also comes into play with symbolic thought. The child's thought can be characterized by 4 aspects. First being egocentrism. So the child's very egocentric. They lack the ability to see things from another's point of view. Next, we'll move on to centration, which means the child is only able to focus on one aspect of a situation at a time. Then comes irreversibility, which means the child cannot replay events in any sort of logical sequence. And next, the child lacks conservation. So that means they have no awareness that physical quantities remain constant even when they can't see that. Third comes the concrete operational stage. This stage takes place from about 7 years to adolescence. Even though the child still has limited logic, there are a lot more things they can understand and comprehend than in the sensoromotor stage. So they're able to understand concrete situations or real situations. They can use tangible objects. They now understand irreversibility, so they can play back sequences of events in a logical way. They experience decentration, so they can now focus on more than one aspect of a situation. Their egocentrism begins to decline, their conservation increases, and they have a new development of problem-solving skills. Fourth comes the formal operational stage, and this takes place from adolescence on. So we are all still in this stage. True logical thought begins. The child or person can now visualize the consequences of their behavior. They can think hypothetically. They become a lot more sophisticated, and they try to stay true to areas where their expertise shines or where they have experience. And these are my references. Thanks, guys, and good luck on finals.